Hey guys, Scare9 here, welcome back to my channel today, and in this video we are going to be ranking all 21 exotic armor ornaments within Destiny 2. Now based on the previous video I did, I have a little bit of feedback that I want to run over really quickly. A couple of you guys said that the video was kind of too negative, that I was being too critical of some of the ornaments. That's, of course, going to be the nature of the first half of these videos. Some of the ornaments don't live up to my expectations. A lot of you guys agree with that. But if you only are here to hear positive things about the game, which kind of undermines the entire point of these videos, but still, you can go to this number on screen, and that will be like halfway through the video, where you can start seeing the cool ones, I guess. Once again, these are my opinions, but I'm more interested in your opinions. So after you get done watching the video, go down and share yours down in the comment section below, saying this video sucks, or your opinions suck, or I actually like this and this. You know, that's cool, especially the last one. That makes a lot of sense. But try to go more into depth about it. You know, if for instance, let's say I don't like the rocket science ornament, and you do, tell me why you like it. You know, don't just say I disagree with this. Say, you know, I like it because of this fact and this aesthetic or whatever. And that will help kind of, you know, round out my opinion and make us all grow as players, which is something that I'm very fond of. So yeah, discussion-based video, let's go. Now, in the 21st slot, we have the Rocket Scientist ornament for the Lion Rampants. Now, this is probably one of the most underwhelming exotic ornament designs in the game. It barely changes anything about the general design of this exotic, and if anything, it makes it look worse. The main change is that it just throws a bunch of text on the design of the boots themselves, and then it also changes the shader palette. So whenever you throw on a normal shader onto these things, it pretty much colors the entire boots. But with the Rocket Science ornament, it makes the main body of them pretty much always white. And it just doesn't look that great. And yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of this. And if you have the name Rocket Science, right, you think they would do something a lot of fun, like maybe add bigger boosters to it, maybe, you know, make you look like a rocket when you're flying around with them. It's just not that cool, very underwhelming, and it is going to be my least favorite exotic ornament in the game. Now in the number 20 slot, we have the Trickster ornament for the GEMINI Jester. Now I absolutely love the aesthetic of the base ornament, or the base kind of design of the GEMINI Jesters. They look extremely clean, extremely nice, and yeah. However, whenever you apply the Trickster ornament to it, it doesn't look that great. The kind of designs become all shattered. Whenever you apply a shader, colors all over the places. It doesn't make a lot of sense, and I just don't think it looks that great. In addition to that, you get this disgusting rectangle thing on your hip. I'm not really sure what it's supposed to be. Is it a radar jammer playing into the idea of what this exotic perk does? Is it a bullet shield for your hip? If you guys have any idea of what this is actually supposed to represent, let me know down in the comment section below. I'm extremely interested to see. That being said, I'm just not a fan of this ornament. I don't think it looks as good as the base aesthetic, and I think the entire idea of ornament should be to change it up, but also to make the exotic look better, not worse. So it's gonna have to go in the number 20 slot. Now in the number 19 slot, we have a Stride to the Edge for the Transversive Steps. Now this one just makes me mad. It's very simple. Ornaments should not just change the kind of color scheme of the something extra of the exotic. So for instance, for the Transversive Steps, they have the holographic blue. This ornament changes them orange. Sure, you have some small design changes on like your toes and stuff. It's barely noticeable. The main change, the main appeal of this ornament is making the blue orange. I believe that should be done with shaders. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. But in my opinion, this is a huge waste of potential and should not be an exotic ornament. Now in the number 18 slot, we have the War Painted ornament for the Foe Tracer. Now it's really easy to see what Bungie was going for here, and I actually really like that. It's the Snow Paratrooper. You know, you've got the fur, it kind of looks like a snow mask. That's all cool. But I just feel like, once again, this doesn't look as great as the base design for the Foe Tracer, which doesn't look that good to begin with. Your face with this ornament just looks kind of smashed together. It doesn't look that great, in my opinion. And it doesn't go too well with a lot of shaders. Something just seems a little bit off, and I can't really explain it better than with those kind of terms, but that's going to have to be that description, so I'm going to have it in the number 18 slot. Now in the number 17 slot, we have the Crown Jewels ornament for the Crown of Tempests. Now this is another ornament that doesn't really change anything in a huge substantial way. It just appears to make some kind of like circuitry transistors go on your main faceplate, and then in addition to that, the spikes of your crown get turned into like a diamond material, it looks like. But other than that, there's nothing too impressive. There's no like lightning effects. There's nothing that really would make this stand out and look that much better than the base one. And yeah, that is why it's coming in at number 17. Now in the number 16 slot, we have the Forest Ranger ornament for the Orpheus rig. Now this is another ornament that I'm actually extremely biased against. I personally do not like the kind of design of ghillie suits or the designs of camo. I just never have liked them. They don't look great to me, and I would prefer not to have it on my armor. So obviously an ornament that features both of these things is not going to be very high on my list. And now I did put it a little bit higher because I know a lot of people do like those aesthetics. For instance, if you do run like the EDZ patrol set, I know you'll have a huge fondness of this ornament. And while I don't like it, I really do appreciate Bungie taking the time to design things to really reach out to different parts of their audiences like that, which is pretty cool. So while it doesn't look, that great to me personally, I do really respect what they were doing with this one. Now in the number 15 slot, we have the Gothic Horror Ornament for the KARNSTEIN Armlets. Now this is one of those mediocre ornaments I've mentioned in a couple of videos. It doesn't make the KARNSTEIN Armlets look that much worse, but it doesn't add a ton either in my opinion. It's not bad, but it's just not good. On a scale of like 1 to 10, it would be a solid 5. It changes the forearm bits a little bit, so you still have the 3 things that stick out, but then you also have 2 larger scales underneath it. And then you also get like cool claw rings on your index and middle fingers as well. But those aren't huge changes. There's nothing super substantial about these. They're just kind of mediocre at best. And yeah, that's why they're number 15. Now in the number 14 slot, we have the Predestination ornament for the Knucklehead Radar. Now this is one of the few faction themed ornaments in the game. So I think it's really cool if you love Future War Cult. But if you aren't really a fan of them and you just grinded for say like the Sunshot or because you wanted this ornament, you might not appreciate it that much. It's a really cool ornament in general. It makes it look pretty cool. It changes the kind of aesthetic of the hologram coming out from your helmet to look a lot cooler. But the problem lies in the part of the ornament that won't change with shaders, and unfortunately all 3 of the Faction Rally ornaments have some type of thing like this. So for the Future War Cult one, the Predestination ornament, the problem is your chin is always a light blue color, and that gets really annoying if you're a player like me who really likes their reds and their blacks and their golds and stuff. Blue doesn't always go super well with the shaders I'm running, so it's a little bit annoying when you're trying to go for like a full red and black thing, and then you've got a blue chin. It looks really random, it looks really weird, and yeah, it still makes the Knucklehead Radar look substantially cooler. I just think that without that chin, it could be, even better by miles. Now in the number 13 slot, we have the Tiamat ornament for the Dragon Shadow. Now I really appreciate this one because it has a real world connection to ancient Babylon. In their kind of mythology and their religion back then, Tiamat was one of the dragon goddesses. Now this makes it really weird and a tad bit confusing because when you apply this ornament, the centerpiece becomes a lion head and not a dragon head. I don't really understand that, but everything else really fits this time period. You have the kind of winged beasts on your shoulder, you have the cool medallions that go across where like a necklace would go. Everything looks really great. However, once again, my problem lies within the fact that some of the areas on this armor piece do not change with shaders. For instance, right like where your sides are, it's blue or like a bluish gray, and that doesn't change regardless of your shader. So that gets a little bit annoying, but it's still a really cool theme to an ornament, and it still looks really great with a lot of different armor sets. So I'm gonna let that one slide just a little bit. And because of all of those things, the Tiamat is gonna come in the 13th slot for this video. Now in the 12th slot, we have the Midnight Sun ornament for the Wings of Sacred Dawn. Now this ornament doesn't change a lot to begin with. There are 2 main changes and then kind of like a small change. The small change is that the book goes from one side of your hip to the other. And it's kind of random. The book doesn't like change covers or anything. It's the same book, you just kind of like picked it up and moved it to the other side. Kind of pointless, but whatever. The gold lace turns into silver. And then the second big change is that the kind of glowy lights on your wings turn from orange and purple to blue and green, which looks really, really cool. I love this ornament. Once again, I feel like a lot of this should happen with shader changes, but because it does go so well together, and it is quite a substantial change. It's not something small like the transversive steps where it's just like the holographic thing on your knee. It's like the entire armor piece changes colors with the ornaments. So while maybe it should happen with shaders, it's a little bit more reasonable with this one, and it definitely looks really, really cool. Now in the number 11 slot, we have the Vicksburg ornament for the ACTIUM war rig. Now this exotic already looks really, really cool. However, when you apply the Vicksburg ornament, it just makes you look like an absolute monster. You get more shells covering your body. You get a really cool color change and designs all over it. It just makes it look really nice. And this is what Titan exotics should look like in my opinion. It's bulky, but not overly so. It doesn't make you look like the Hulk or anything, but it makes it look like you can hold your own, which is really cool. And then it also maintains the very clean and sleek design as well, which is just something that makes it look 10 times better, which is really cool. Now in the number 10 slot, we have the Deep Pockets ornament for the Lucky Pants. Now, not a lot gets changed when you apply this ornament, but everything that is changed looks immensely better in my opinion. I love how the pants, go from this kind of wore down feel to looking brand new. It looks like you just tanned the leather, made pants out of them, and it looks fit for the Forsaken expansion. It looks great. In addition, another really cool change is the weapon holster on your side. If you're walking around a social space, that's where your hand cannon actually goes. And it's the same with the base design, but it kind of just floated above it before. With the Deep Pockets ornament, the hand cannon actually fits in the kind of socket. It looks really, really good, as you can see in the gameplay. And it's just, this is an example of how a base skin doesn't need to be changed substantially for an ornament just to make it look better. You can make a couple of little aesthetic changes that makes it look substantially better without making these huge changes, which is something that this ornament does very, very well. Now in the number 9 slot, we have the Dead of Winter ornaments for the Winter's Guile. Now this ornament is amazing, but that's really hard to tell because in the inspection screen, like when you're previewing it, the gauntlet doesn't change. Your left hand doesn't change at all. The right hand, which is the thing that changes, is like down on your side. So you really have to look for it. It's kind of silly if you think about it. But on your right hand, on the offhand, the kind of little metal feature turns into this giant menacing block of ice. It looks very, very cool. And I love ornaments like this where Bungie takes creative liberty and does something a little bit more outside the box. They could have made them even more ornate. They could have done a lot of different things, but instead they stuck a block of ice on your arm that not only plays into the name of the exotic, but just looks freaking cool. And that's why I appreciate this ornament enough to be on the number 9 slot. Now in the number 8 slot, we have the Thunder God ornament for the RAIDEN FLUX. Now one of the biggest problems with the RAIDEN FLUX isn't how it performs. It's definitely one of the best exotics in the game. Instead, it's the orange tubes on the stomach that don't change color with different shaders. Now this ornament not only makes this chest piece look absolutely badass, it also fixes that problem by covering them in metal, which does change with different shaders. It looks very, very good. And then in addition to fixing the orange tubes and adding the cool designs over it, you also get these really cool knives crossing on your back, which are, it's just a small feature, but it looks very, very, very nice. Now in the number 7 slot, we have the Techno Scarab ornament for the Caprice Horn. Now this ornament has a huge impact on the aesthetic of this helmet, and it is amazing. You go from one of the ugliest helmets in the game to something that has this amazing cyberpunk theme. It really just cleans up the helmet, makes it look even meaner and cooler, and it makes it more visually pleasing as well. Plus, it also makes the horns look like 10 times better in my opinion as well, and I'm just a huge fan of the direction Bungie went with this ornament. It looks so good. It improves upon the base aesthetic like tenfold, if not 100-fold. It looks so much better, and I'm just a huge fan of this artistic direction. Now in the number 6 slot, we have a very similar ornament, and that is going to be the Capriel Line Axe for the Stag. Now once again, it takes a mediocre helmet and just makes it beastly. It gives the Stag this insane cyberpunk themed aesthetic, and it's absolutely beautiful. The horns grow like 10 times the size. Your eyes actually change with different shaders, which is very nice. And once again, I just love the overall artistic direction here. Not only are you fixing up the helmet to make it look nicer, you make it look more powerful and more menacing as well, which is just awesome. I love when Bungie puts this much creative effort into the different ornaments in the game, because it definitely pays off whenever you're seeing it within the world of Destiny, and it's just so freaking cool. Now in the number 5 slot, we have the Hippowader ornament for the DUNEMARCHERS. Now once again, this is a very simple ornament. It has a very small change, but this small change has a very drastic impact on the overall aesthetic of these legs. One of the main changes is that your two legs now match. Before, they were kind of off-centered. One would do one color, another would do kind of the opposite color on your shader. Now they match perfectly, which means you can match it to all sorts of armor sets all over the game. In addition to that, you get these kick-ass neon lights covering your legs that also change with shaders. It looks so good. They're super bright in-game, they stand out a lot, and it just makes these exotics just seem more exotic. And once again, this ornament just does the same thing as the Techno Scarab and the Caprio Linux ornaments. It just makes these exotics seem more powerful. And that is a huge addition to the overall aesthetic of this exotic, in my opinion, and that is why it's number 5 on this list. Now in the number 4 slot, we have the ACD Feedback Fences ornament called Endless Loop. Now this ornament just feels like a more upgraded version of this exotic. It doesn't change a lot once again, but they become a little bit bigger. The brightness of it goes up a ton. The glow of this ornament is so much brighter. And then you also get a pulsing effect, which is really cool. So when you're running around with this ornament in the world, you always look like you're ready to punch something, and the thing that you punch is going to explode. It looks excellent. I could not be happier with the overall aesthetic of this ornament because it's pretty much perfect. It fits the Warmind theme, but it also makes you look more powerful than the base version of this exotic, which is once again something I'm a huge fan of. Now in the number 3 slot, we have the Gaze Beyond Worlds ornament for the Eye of Another World Warlock exotic helmets. Now this is the Dead Orbit faction rally exclusive armor ornament, and like with the other two, there is a bit that does not change colors with shaders, and this one is going to be the kind of eye orange circle thing going on in the middle of the helmet. But honestly, that doesn't bother me too much because it looks so freaking cool no matter which shader you are running with this ornament. Now it is a huge improvement on the base aesthetic also, in my opinion. The design already looks so much cooler, but then it also plays into the kind of ideology and theme of Dead Orbit, while not going too far over the top. It looks amazing, and in my opinion, the Gaze Beyond Worlds ornament is the perfect combination of kind of space magic and just having an insanely badass helmet, and that is why it is number 3 on this list. Now in the second slot, we have the Blazing Hearth ornament for the Crest of Alpha Lupi, and just goddamn, I'm sorry, it looks amazing. This is the New Monarchy ornament for Season 3. I am not a fan of New Monarchy, but this thing is beautiful. You have intricate ornate designs covering it, and the combination of different shader palettes on it is perfect. Now, what I mean by that is no matter which ornament you have, the different combinations of colors fit together perfectly. It's not too loud, it's not too quiet. Everything just is split up so well to make this ornament even stand out more. Then in addition to that, you have the jewels in the middle of the New Monarchy logo that, even though they don't change color, really don't look that bad. They look great no matter which shader combination you're running. It just seems like it's supposed to be there. That being said, I would rather that they did change colors in the end, but it really doesn't look that bad. I'm in love with the overall aesthetic of this ornament. It's nearly perfect in my opinion. This is what faction ornaments should look like. Something that makes you proud to wear them and really represent your faction, and the Blazing Hearth ornament does it perfectly. Now in the number 1 slot, we have reached what I consider to be the greatest ornament currently in the game for any of the exotic armor pieces, and that is going to be, surprise surprise, the Vulcan's Heart for the HALLOWFIRE Heart exotic chest piece. Now at this point, it should be fairly obvious that I love fire, I love lava. This aesthetic is just so freaking cool. I obviously understand that this isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea, but it's just the perfect ornament in my eyes. It changes the base aesthetic of the HALLOWFIRE Heart immensely, but also instills it with the feeling that I love about the Destiny universe. It fills it with that feeling of space magic awesomeness, and like I said, that's just something I crave at this point. I want to see how creative and how crazy Bungie can go, and this ornament is the perfect example of what happens whenever they take creative liberty and really just go ham on the game and show us what they can really do with the universe of Destiny, and that is why the Vulcan's Heart is my favorite ornament in Destiny 2. So let me know what you guys thought about my list down in the comment section below. Once again, this is a discussion, so if you don't agree with me, let me know which you don't agree with me on and why. That is extremely important. I try to answer all of your guys' comments. Let's see if we can have an actual conversation. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like rating and to share it with your friends. If you're interested in watching either of the 2 videos on screen, you can click their respective annotations to be taken to them. If you are brand new to my channel, make sure to hit the giant version of my logo on screen to be subscribed to my awesome Destiny 2 videos and live streams. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I will see you in my next video.